And welcome back to Bros in a Landfill. My New Year's resolution is to be a productive member of society. What's yours? Our hosts for today are Lunch Police, or Lunchbillion, or Quackbillion, or Brett. Pick your choosing.
Can we just keep it unified with Lunchbillion going into the new decade? I don't need any more confusion. Fuck. Hello, everybody.
And I'm Trybien. I'm here. And I have a lot of fears, and let's have a great year.
Well, that was delightful and sad.
Yeah, exactly. So 2019's come to a close. Thank you all for waiting a week for this new episode. I hope you enjoyed the very special New Year special we threw together. That was a lot of fun and definitely high quality. Definitely
it's some of the best you can expect we've ever produced.
Yeah, exactly. There's no excuse to miss it. Now, Mr. Lunchbillion is here today with me to talk about the last year, do some retrospectives, and see what we hope for this coming year. So this is a very year episode. It's an episode about years, 2019 and maybe 2020.
This is a very year episode. Got it.
Yeah. And hopefully this is a year where we grow, we get better, and we have fun. Speaking of getting better, last year, 2019, was the year we added in Lunchbillion into the podcast, and I could definitely say that the quality of the episodes has immensely improved since then.
Oh, well, that's very sweet. That's very kind. It's been fun. No, I like talking to you guys about whatever inane fucking bullshit it is every week. It's nice to be here.
I just whenever I don't know if you're the straight man or the insane one, like, because sometimes it's just like one of us says just some bullshit and you just go off on like just you're so dumbfounded.
I think I'm an easily exasperated straight man.
Yeah, like that's just like that moment like last year when I said like all Sonic games are bad, and then
oh my god, don't even let's leave that in the past. Let's leave that in the last decade, man.
Yeah,
that's not an okay statement.
2019 was not an okay year, man.
You don't think it was okay?
It wasn't okay, but it was also years, man. They're a thing. You can't sum up in it by single things.
Okay, well, how about with a giant, sprawling, rambling monologue? How was your year? Try.
It was interesting. It was the first full year I've worked 9 to 5 job, doing full-time work, learning a lot about programming on the job, growing as a person. It was interesting. It by no means was an easy year. Personal stuff, like always. I think a lot of people are going through personal issues, but I think to some degree that's a lot to do with every year the world's getting faster and faster. This new technology, boundaries are breaking down, and people from different communities get clashed because communication is far easier than before. Whereas 100 years ago, people didn't really talk with people outside of their like immediate community.
Yeah.
So things are a lot more larger than when I was growing up. And I don't even just mean like, the world's bigger because I'm seeing more. It feels like every year things are getting more insane. And I don't know if I'm just too woke.
I'm just the only woke boy in the whole world. No, I get where you're coming from. Well, yeah, I think the more time goes on, I think the more plugged in everyone seems to be, and like the more extreme the online environment seems to get. So that's something.
and granted, like I might not have the best feel of what the what the normal person who doesn't spend a lot of time online like is like. I don't just because like I grew up on the internet. I spent my whole like teen years going up. But even so, the internet's changed so much since like I've joined Ace Attorney Online like a decade ago.
Oh no,
I mean,
it's changed a lot. No, I think like internet culture or whatever is
mhm,
way more mainstream than it ever was when I was just going on, fucking image boards
mhm,
as a kid or a teenager. I
mhm.
mean, we can only really speak for our own kind, right? I don't know how
Yeah,
things are going for like the average person, but I do think that the crazy internet culture has seeped in outside of the internet native tribe a little bit.
yeah. I, d- I think the big thing that like I've come to realize this last year is that where beforehand with the internet before it was so mainstream and so public, like the anonymity of each site worked in its own like little favor.
Hmm.
But now that we have this mass cross pollination between two different generations of internet users, and you got kind of people in the middle. Now it's like you got a lot of people who value the anonymity and acting anonymously and not having like any responsibility for what they do or say online because that's not how they use the internet. And now you have a lot of younger people, newer people, or people coming into the internet, and it's very public. It's you yourself on the internet, not this like anonymous person. So you have all these different ideologies of how people should act online clashing, and it's really weird. Like it's both it's both a very big public place and it's very big private place all combined where it's not as straightforward as oh you go to the public square and everything you do there is public. It's you you have like a big combination of anonymous like anime profile people from like everywhere on the political spectrum. You have a bunch of people putting their public information out there on every end of the public spectrum.
Yeah, it's weird. Like
Again,
it's not like we're all going in with the same loadout or the same expectations of how we should engage with these platforms. I mean, yeah, you're right. Like it is
yeah,
weird that like people will be on there with their full name with a tick, and then there'll be
yeah.
someone who's like fucking Sonic Oseater 87, and they can have the same discussion together. And
Yeah,
like, yeah, it's weird. There's obviously different philosophies going into those people's uh
yeah.
you know view of how to use the space. Um, wait, so this is just rewinding back a bit. We're talking about your year, so
Yeah,
this is
but
kind of
well,
this
this
kind
is kind
of
of
sorry.
for like this like past year, like this is like something that like I know it's like not new, but I've really this last year I really tried to have broadened my scope and break down a lot of my natural assumptions of people, um, so that because something that like I noticed early this year and like last year was that I was heavily like I was so far in certain like groups and mindsets that I was making assumptions about people without because being in certain groups, being in some sort like certain circles, you get like I'm trying to think the right word. You get a certain expectation of how the internet works or how you're supposed to act on the internet. And because of that, I was jumping to conclusions about people online or different groups or whatnot. So the one thing that I was been trying to do is trying to like actually look into different communities, see how different communities actually act and whatnot. And it's insane because you have like these like different groups of people, like everywhere from like Kiwi Farms to etc. to Pretty Little Liars to Twitter to YouTube to um, I don't go on Facebook anymore, but even like different Discord communities, it's insane because like even if we're just looking at Discord communities, every Discord community is its own reality. Uh, and you see people
Please
talking about other
elaborate.
groups in different ways, caring about different like when I say caring about different things, I'm like different like entirely different moral structures. And no longer is this just like I feel like if you're staying safe within one, like if you're staying safe within one group, you're not peering out and you're just listening to say, oh, this group is bad, this group's bad, this group's bad, and you're not actually seeing what people are saying. It's very easy to create that mentality that I'm right, I'm moral, and everybody else who disagrees, like, so if anybody has a different thought from yourself, they're both wrong and immoral. And that's not how people work. I feel like there's very few actual bad actors online. And like there are bad actors online, don't get me wrong, but I feel like the vast majority of people who are online aren't bad actors and they're acting within their own scope of justice and morality.
Well, yeah,
And
I think it's the dynamics of the internet that like make people or lead people down these paths, less so than they're inherently bad.
yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, like like I think it's pretty well documented that like being in closed off groups and stuff can lead to
Yeah.
extremism in any area.
Yeah, but I think I think we all know that. I think it's a whole other thing to put yourself in those other communities to actually like read what they're writing from an open-minded perspective, not a oh, I'm resting on my laurels. I know I'm right. I'm reading this to see how stupid people are. If you're going and reading what people are saying with a good faith effort, it's nuts how different these realities are and how easily people are just vilify other sides without understanding where they actually come from.
I agree.
Like, but that's me this last year. I also played a lot of video games, but
All right.
but yeah, the most video games I've ever played in a year. I won't spoil anything for Lunch's Game Awards. I'm looking forward to do it, but I have to like thank Lunch for even having this idea for me to join in on in the first place because like I have so much trouble playing video games. Like I will start a game and I won't finish it. Like I'll get halfway through, either get frustrated or something else will come out. Your video game competition has forced me to finish games.
No, it's fun. I don't know, like having another external
Yeah.
motivator to be like, I mean, just to see how big you can make the number get, or how much you can smoke someone else by. Like, I don't know. It's just because, yeah, it's like media requires you to give something to it, and if you're
Yeah.
like lacking in energy or whatever, it's really easy to not. I guess it's kind of like with any hobby, really, where starting's the hard part. But like, if you just think like, oh, I can't be bothered, then like you'll miss out on so many cool experiences, like in so many interesting little pieces of escapism.
Yeah.
Yeah. So nice.
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking forward to Lunchbillion's Game Awards of this year or of 2019. Make sure to subscribe to youtube.com/Lunchbillion. I don't know if he actually has a unique URL, so you might just have to look up Lunchbillion, and we'll probably link it somewhere. I think we put it in our channel. Like that, we usually put your channel at the end of our videos anyway. So
Right. So
make sure.
just skip to the end of this fucking video and go to my channel.
Yeah.
No, I should probably get to work on that script after we finish this episode, actually, because I got a long way to go. But I really like making those videos.
Yeah, definitely. Like if you haven't seen Lunch's previous years, they're worth a shot because he doesn't just talk about the games of the year they came out. It's the games he's played that year, so you're always getting something new or interesting. You're not getting the same like 5-10 games on everybody's game of the year lists.
And I like to think I have a pretty like, I won't say an eclectic taste, but I mostly just play a million Sonic games. But like I play games from like lots of random years, like
Yeah.
Classic stuff, fucking 360, modern, whatever. I think that's cool.
Yeah, they're entertaining as hell. I'll say that.
Yes.
Like, why are you watching this podcast? Go watch Lunch's channel. It's better in every way.
Well, except for maybe output.
Hey, quality over quantity, my dear friend.
Well, all right. Well, we'll put a pin in that discussion. We can come back to the great Bros and Landfill versus Lunchbillion debate later.
Yeah. Speaking of games, is there something you want to talk about, Lunch?
Sure. Are we just transitioning to me talking about my year or what?
Well, well, yeah, your year, I guess. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
I do have a game related thing to talk about in my year. What's the proper order of things? Um, I it's last year. I'm quite grateful for it. It certainly wasn't the easiest year either. I actually found it very difficult. How do I talk about it?
Mhm.
Like it's like if I really look at everything that happened, it's easy to be like, wow, I feel like I suffered a lot and this was a bad year. But I don't think it was a bad year. Because one, I learned a whole lot of valuable things to know about my life, and I was pretty happy with the direction I was going in terms of my development the whole time. So yeah, it was good because at the beginning of my 2018 Game Awards video, I started off by saying I was fucking depressed for like the whole year and it sucked. and but and it seems like I had a similar amount of shitty times in 2019, but I feel pretty good about it. So
Yeah.
what are the things that happened? Well, pretty much right off the bat, I had my first breakup, and that's a big oof. Um,
Oof.
that's that's a big thing. And I had like my work history is a bit weird. Like I've taken ages to sort of leave the nest, so to speak. So like,
Mm.
uh, this year, well, 2019 was like my first like a normal person job that I had for an extended period of time. I worked at Subway, uh, and that really stressed me the fuck out. I was super anxious, and I was still like grieving my relationship, and it was like really a pretty fucked time. Um, but
Did you
I
did you
sorry,
did you talk about that like that horrible night you had on podcast?
I think so. Yeah, I think I talked about the 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 day. It was like my first time closing the store, and also the day my breakup happened, and it was like it's probably the worst day of my life. With like
Yeah.
which is funny. Like I'm like, oh yeah, last year wasn't so bad. I'm like, oh yeah, also had the worst day of my life. But a day,
Mm.
1 out of 365, not fucking not so bad. Um, so where was I going with this? I hated my job. I was really sad about my relationship. But I learned some important things. So like basically since like high school or as I've been, I guess, growing into an adult, um, I don't know. I always had this real insecurity about like not being grown up because I didn't really have any skills
Hmm.
other than like how to
Oh,
like draw Sonic
yeah.
characters.
I can relate that to that, except drawing Sonic characters. That
I didn't even have Sonic characters, man. Uh, you know how hard it was for me.
I
Um,
was I was drawing Kingdom Hearts characters in middle school. I have no room to talk.
okay, well there you go. Yeah, and so I felt like until I got like a normal job, like I wasn't gonna be able to prove that I was like a real normal member of society.
Hmm.
Um, and I figured like like if I was working a job, then I'd be earning the right to exist in society, and I would feel better about myself. And I kind of discovered by making a bunch of sandwiches that like I realized I didn't feel like I deserved to exist any more than I did before just because I was making
Hmm.
people sandwiches. I thought I don't think
Well,
this is the thing that decides whether or not I'm
yeah.
worthy.
Well, yeah. I think the problem with those sorts of jobs, like any sort of uh w- restaurant, retail, like I can say it related to like when I worked at the car wash. It's you when you are replaceable, you don't feel like you're actually valued.
Oh no,
Like
I didn't feel valued at all.
yeah, and when you don't feel valued with your work, you don't value your work.
Yeah, that's a thing. That's certainly a problem. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, I just like it felt like it didn't feel like the thing that meant that I had the right to live in society. It was like, well,
Yeah.
this is just
Well,
I don't know, this is stupid because it's meaningless. Like this is
well,
not what I have to contribute to the world. Um,
mhm.
and so I don't know, like it kind of gave me. I've quit the job now. I still gotta find another one, but like, it's kind of reset my priorities and that like Oh, I want to. I just 100% want to find whatever path will facilitate the things that I actually care about, that I actually think are
Yeah.
meaningful. And
Hmm.
I don't know. Before I had a similar outlook, but I thought that it was like based in fear of like not being able to survive in the other world. Um, but I'm like, no. I managed to have a job for, and it
Well,
was dumb.
well, it sounds to me that at the end of the day, your job like Subway was a good experience for you because it allowed you to mature in a way that you wouldn't have otherwise.
Yeah, I think so, and I feel similarly about my breakup.
Hmm.
Like geez, like I mean, on one level, like just having, just suffering some hurt here and there, it does feel like it like recenters you. It gives you like an idea of like this the depth of human emotions, or and like gives you empathy, um, helps you understand what you do have and stuff like that. Um, Makes you look at where your worth comes from. Um, it's so like that's kind of like by default, but I've noticed like it's taken like it's been about a year, and it's taken like pretty much a lot of time to get here, but like I can see kind of what I was doing in the relationship where I wasn't, which is some a problem I have in general that I've been working on lately, where I'm not truthful with myself, and then by extension other people. Uh,
Mm.
just because of like in the relationship there are lots of things that bothered me that but I didn't really want to believe them, so I kind of pretended things were okay, and I didn't even notice I was deceiving myself. Um, and I've certainly done similar things when like um, I think people have expectations of me. I'll just try and believe an alternate reality where I am that thing, um, and it just means I'm not real with people. And yeah, I've been trying to develop on that recently, because my friend Sailor's been reading a book about radical honesty, where basically the entire point is like it's like a philosophy or a lifestyle where yeah, you just avoid lying to yourself or others as much as possible. And
Mm.
trying to take that into account, I'm like, oh, I'm noticing all these places where I'm not sincere with myself because I'm afraid of what the truth might be. Um, but I think only the uncertainty is scary. There's no point in like uh I feel like the truth is something that will come out of any situation no matter what. So you may as
Yeah.
well just seek it out. Because
Yeah.
whatever something is what it is. And so that's been a pretty liberating idea.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. That.
yeah.
Yeah. That's something that like, and this is partially why like I think it plays back into my strong sense of justice, where I think the only thing that really matters is that the truth comes out in a like comes out sooner than later, because the longer the truth is like the longer the truth is obscured about something, the more pain everybody feels about it, and then when the truth does come out, the more pain everybody feels in that moment.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
everybody really
Like you just have to be honest.
like,
Um, and just let
well
things be what
and
they are because there's no escaping it.
yeah.
There's only
Well
delaying it or making it worse later.
well and that's the other thing. The longer it takes the truth come out, the less of the truth is what comes out. Like the like truth sort of degrades. The more we sit on it, the more that we wait on it, the more that it doesn't come out, the more details that are lost, the more nuance that is lost. Like if you hold on for something for so long, you might not even remember the exact reasons why you held on to something. So that when it comes out or when you come out, you have a harder time explaining it than when
Yeah, because it has roots in a scenario that doesn't exist anymore, or in a
yeah.
version of you that doesn't exist anymore.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, so I had a job, I had a breakup. Both things sucked, but they both made me learn things about myself and my life. And the other thing that's notable about my year, I think, is what you were alluding to earlier, is that I've been working on a little game project that we're calling
Woohoo!
Project Ashes at the moment. For
I have to stop you there because I haven't told you this. Um, because I thought it was funny and I wanted to say it on cast.
okay,
So this game Project Ashes. Back when I was in high school, I was trying to work on a game project with some friends that clearly fell apart, and like I called the Project Ashes.
That's amazing because it's
I
like the
know.
same backstory that we have.
Yeah, no.
Now, granted, this is like a code name, so
Yeah. I
it can
mean,
change. But it's funny. That's the same thing. Um,
it was a dumb fighting game where it was like, oh, it was like Mortal Kombat-esque where there was finishing moves that ended with people turning into ashes, but
oh,
it was it was a game
that's
that was
spicy.
never gonna come to fruition.
Well, I mean,
I wonder
sorry.
I wonder if the pro bars are still up for that. I don't know if I ever deleted the planning forum we had for it, but it's an idea I still really like in terms of the fighting game. If I don't know if the game that we had planned would ever come to fruition, but if I ever get a chance to make a game in the future, a fighting game or whatever, like I would utilize the concepts around that.
Dude, we could do an entirely different episode of making up our own fighting game ideas.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, no, that's well, because for like with me with fighting games, right? What I enjoy in fighting games is like really flashy, really, like I don't like incredibly technical input mainly because I have really bad coordination. I'm really bad at it.
yeah,
But I like when games are really flashy, but they don't take forever with the flash, or that or it's
yeah.
incredibly satisfying. So
I
like
guess.
it's a hard balance to make a game flashy but not redundant. So I think of something like I think Dragon Ball Fighters is probably the perfect amount of like flash and uh without being too redundant. I do think that some of those like extra scenes like like I think like the ending scenes, like the dramatic finishes, are too snappy sometimes. Like it's not always as satisfying as it could be.
Hmm.
But I find the special moves, the finishers and whatnot are all great.
Yeah, I like how they're flashy, but they don't like take your control for way too long or anything.
Mm.
They're just full of full of beans. What was I saying?
Yeah,
Oh,
I don't know.
right. So Project Ashes. It reminds
Yeah,
you of a project you were working on, or
yeah.
you were thinking about back in
It's I
high
mean,
school.
yeah. Nothing. It's nothing like it, but just shared a name.
All right. Well, our Project Ashes. So
The
this is
real
a
one.
similar. We're certainly not the only people to call something Ashes.
I know.
But this is a similar idea actually, in that me and two of my friends, Sailor and Reese, came up with this
Mhm.
idea back in high school. I don't think
Ooh.
it wasn't actually going to be a game back then. We were like, let's. We actually want to make like a forum role play, and we were trying to make like a setting that was really cool. Where basically the premise was that, like, when somebody dies, they turn to ash, and then ash is what powers magic. And we just thought that
Ah.
was like a cool like premise for a fantasy world. And then we filled it up with our own fantasy races and locations and crazy lore. And after a while, I think we decided this is too cool to be a role play. Let's make this like something bigger. Like one day, like we're all creatives. One day when we're super epic, we're gonna come back and we're gonna make a series or a game out of this. And then we're like, okay, and then we just put it away. And it's very easy to have like a pipe dream project like that and not actually work towards making it. And just basically, I think late 2018, we were basically like, what if we just did Ashes? Like, rather than waiting until some nebulous point where everyone's badass, like that's not a way to actually get people to do anything. It's not a way to actually get us to grow. Let's just fuck it. Let's just make our dream thing. And it's been really cool. It's been like the working on this project has been kind of like the light at the end of the tunnel. Like when I was saying like, I'm happy with my direction in life over the year, even though it was a shitty year in a lot of ways. This is kind of what I was talking about. Because slowly but surely, we're not super far along yet. We're still in like pretty early, like putting the game together. But
Yeah.
it's like we've been built with just the three of us. We've been building
Whoa.
characters and stories. We've been figuring out how the gameplay is going to work. We've been designing shit. And it's just getting bigger and bigger. And the more we work on it, the more real it seems, the more actually attainable it is. And it's really heartening. Drawing for it, I think I've actually improved quite a lot. Like
Yeah, no, I can agree with that. Like your even so, like your art this whole past year has definitely seemed to have gotten a lot better.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, well, because like I'm being forced into scenarios I wouldn't normally be in. Like if you just if you just doodle, like it's easy just to draw the same thing over and over and never really engage yourself. But if you're doing a project, it's like, okay, well, we need a character to do this, and you need to look like this. You're like, shit, I don't know how to do that, and so you learn. And like I've got like I've had drawing habits for years where I just draw characters really short and squat, and I just like couldn't get out of it. And then doing Ashes, it's like, all right, well, I'm going to use a height scale, and now people look a bit more normal. And now I look back at all my old art, and I'm like, what the fuck? What is happening with these guys?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's really fun. I'm progressing in like in a goal with some of my best friends, trying to actualize our dream, and it's very slow, but I'm really happy with it. And you can follow the progress on Twitter.
Yeah, twitter.com/
fuck, what are we called?
Yeah, it's called fuck what we called. Yeah, twitter.com/ fuck what are we called?
No. Twitter.com/ Project Ashes _NZ.
Yeah, so Dizzy's here. We're doing a year in looking back on the year of 2019.
Oh, I hated 2019.
Good. So
it was 365
so why don't you tell us why you
misery.
hated 20? Yeah. So why don't you talk about 2019?
I don't wanna.
Well, Lunch was just finishing up talk.
It's just miserable. It's like my family members were either dying or dead, and just really just tragic shit kind of just happened to me over and over again.
Jeez.
Yeah, I don't want to. It's not funny. Like ha ha ha. My uncle had a stroke. Great.
That's horrible.
Yeah. 2019 was just a year of horrible family-related tragedies, and I'm glad it's over.
Yeah.
And they all survived, and they're all still alive, so that's good. He lived.
Well, not if World War III ends up happening.
Yeah, that's the thing everyone else is talking about now too.
What a great way to start 2020,
Look,
World War III.
Look, let's just we're talking about 2019, not the end of the world that's happening this year and beyond.
Yeah.
Let's stay on topic and not look at the horrible fucking shadow being cast upon us.
I feel like every generation, every single year and every single generation of people is always thinking that the world's gonna end, the shadow of the end of the world is upon them. And then the people are always saying, this is it, this is the one. And it kind of just makes you think, I guess we're just always putting ourselves in horrible world-ending related risks. And you can almost we
wouldn't be human if we weren't.
You can almost try to take solace in the idea that it hasn't ended yet, but it keeps getting worse. It's like, then this happens. Oh, this is it. This is the end of the world. And then the world keeps going. And then something else happens. This is it. This is the end of the world. And then the world keeps going. And you're like, oh, man, maybe we'll survive.
Well, I think part of the tension now is now that we have nuclear weapons that could quite literally destroy the world, that everything is like every little like foreign policy action is incredibly anxiety inducing because you don't know what's going to set off some random country like North Korea or Iran or Russia to set off a first nuke, or even America. Who knows what's going to set America off to set the first nuke?
Yeah, well, America's fucking starting this war. So, I mean...
Yeah, I know.
There's a very insecure fucking pumpkin man in charge.
But it just takes one nuke before it all falls to shit. That's the scary part, because once one country sets off a nuke, another country's going to do it.
The fucking scary part is that the nuclear technology is so old and can't be updated because they don't want to risk setting it off, that I'm terrified no one's going to start the tension. It's just someone's going to spill their coffee.
Right. Oh, no!
Oh, no, we're totally going to have our nuclear so when we eventually nuke Russia, the narrative is going to be that Russia hacked into America's nuke missile firing system, and they fired it at themselves so they could be the victims of the first nuclear war, so they could send even more nukes at us.
I thought the reason why we haven't had a World War III mainly hinged on the fact that the first person to launch a nuke is also going to be the last person, because then everyone's just going to die.
Yeah, exactly.
Nowadays the nukes are less for our own protection and more for just not we have to keep surveillance on them.
Yeah, well, like nuclear nukes at this point are just a posturing maneuver, but I think the concern is that there's going to be some crazy person who doesn't care
takes
enough.
one.
Yeah,
it only takes one crazy person to be like, I don't care enough about my own population to go and
it's not even
or I don't
your
care enough
own,
about
it's
the
just
world.
yeah, that's the thing, and it's
Like, I don't care enough about the world. I just kind of want to do it because because of my ego or whatever.
Yeah, no, that's the scary thing. That's why nukes are very scary. just takes one.
Well, I think the other thing is you have to either be an incredible moron or not care for your own life or care about anybody else's life in order to do it, because once you fire a nuke, you put yourself in the position of being the victim of a nuke attack. Like, you as the leader of the country.
There are people that like. I think it's not that uncommon for someone to go crazy and shoot a bunch of people and then kill themselves. Like, it would only take someone with the power to be in a very dark place to destroy the whole world.
You say it would take an incredible moron or a person who doesn't care about themselves, but unfortunately, as things are right now, we have a lot of morons in the world who think they don't care about themselves, but then when push comes to shove, they realize, oh, I really do like me, as it turns out. Whoops, too bad I already jumped.
I am going to counter that notion because if by nature of trying to become a political figure, you must have an incredible ego. And to put that ego at risk by starting the end of the world would imply that you're like, it's just like, I know people talk about like how Trump's a moron, we're afraid of Trump starting nuclear war. I think Trump has too big of an ego to put himself at risk of death.
I think Trump likes living a little too much to
Trump.
Yeah.
Because here's the other thing: just Trump knows that if he fires a nuke, even if he doesn't become the victim of a nuke attack, he becomes an immediate target for assassination. You have to be so.
He's not quite as dumb as people think. And like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's Professor Einstein. He's pulling the wool over everyone's eyes. He's the puppet master, but he certainly isn't that stupid.
The only time I could see a country firing off a nuke is if they've already lost the conflict.
Yeah,
and it's a mutually it's more of a mutually assured destruction sort of tactic of, oh, you fucked us. You're like, our country's basically decimated. Most of our army is dead. You're probably gonna come and kill our leaders. Yeah, we're just gonna fuck you because of it.
America just raises its hand and goes, we helped Germany. We can help you.
It's like,
or not.
It's like America's never gonna be the country to fire the first nuke, but America is definitely the country that can put another country into the position of firing a nuke.
America luckily is never the country that fires the first nuke in before tomorrow. Just we're all dying. Frozen Landfill was wrong.
That'd be something. Luckily, the world didn't end in 2019.
Yeah.
I don't. Though, I guess we moved away from that discussion because Dizzy's 2019 was his family being in the hospital. But
yeah.
What was I saying? I think I talked about all my points, actually. I talked about the game. I plugged the Twitter. Barely. Okay, let's go back to talking about the end of the world.
What do you people want me on your show? I joined your show, and the first thing I talk about is my family is dying, and also the end of the world.
It was, man, you were just giving us your truthful self, your genuine Dizzy.
We like you, Dizzy.
I always do that, and I'm always miserable.
Lunch. You know what the other thing that happened in 2019?
What's that?
You started that New Zealand poetry channel.
That's right, and then fucking went nowhere with it. My dad's got footage for the next poet, and he just wants to send it to me. I'm like, can you send me that footage? And he's like, yeah, sure, I'll send it soon, and then I never get it. And now it's like, I can't ask for it now, because he's just been in the hospital and shit. And what kind of monster is gonna be like, Yeah, I know you just
No,
were
no,
hospitalized,
what
but where's the
what you
fucking
what you,
poems?
what you do is you send it to yourself for him because has been unwell.
Oh, I just have to go to his house and log into his computer.
Weren't you just there yesterday?
Yeah, but I forgot I have a New Zealand poetry channel.
I would have reminded you, but I didn't know that this was a situation that you were in.
Also, it's a Northland poetry channel, doofus. I just remembered.
What if you like went to his house and you're like, "Hey, Dad, it's me, your son. I come to go check on you," and you give him a hug and you give him some flowers and stuff. And then when he's sitting down, you jump onto his computer and you're like, "All right, let's do this." You crack your knuckles like, "Okay, Dad."
I'm like, whoa, that was a lot of noise that my knuckles just made. Holy shit.
I just imagine that like those like images of cartoon characters with like the broken fingers.
Actually, my dad's doing a lot better at the moment.
That's good to hear.
I probably
he's
can
doing
hassle
cartwheels
him.
again.
My dad was never doing cartwheels. Let's make that very clear. I think that's probably like a physical impossibility.
You never know.
I don't know. I can't even do cartwheels.
I can do a cartwheel, you pussy.
My ass is too big to do a cartwheel. My center of gravity's all off.
I think when I was a kid, I tried the cartwheel because everyone else was doing it.
I'm trying to do a cartwheel.
If a cartwheel is what I think it is, then I'm pretty sure I was stopped by people who said that cartwheels are a thing that girls do, and then I was like, "Oh, okay, well, I won't do it then." And
Wow,
then I got older.
that's upsetting. I mean,
I
guess
was in
it
grade
is more
school.
of a.
I was in grade
guess
school,
it's a more
so
feminine
peer pressure
maneuver.
and gender stuff was a lot bigger when you're in third grade. But then you get older,
agreed.
and then you get older, you realize that it's stupid. But then you also realize that because you haven't been cartwheeling for years, you're really out of practice, and you fall on your and you fall on your ass.
Damn it!
Now I can't cartwheel anymore, and it's all because of stupid peer pressure.
They fucked you for life.
Yeah, they fucked me
Fucking
for
gender
life.
norms.
But you know what? You know what?
I don't know what. I'm on the edge of my seat.
It's okay, because even if I can't cartwheel, I can still do handstands.
Wow.
As long as I prop myself
do
up against a wall.
What? Okay. Well, that's still something. I'll let you have that.
What if you let me have some cake and then eat it too?
That might make it harder to do physical activities like handstands, but
I guess that's true.
they're delicious.
It's good times.
What if you had some coffee and then someone is like, "Hey, give me your coffee," and you say no, and then he pulls out a gun, and then you don't say anything, and he points the gun at some ducks and he shoots it, and then a dog catches it, and then that dog joins Smash Brothers.
I don't
Do,
know,
do, 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 do,
what
do, do.
what are you doing? All right, everybody. So this has been our 2019 discussion. Do we want to maybe close off the video with a few small hopes and dreams for 2020, other than the fact that the world isn't gonna be exploded?
I hope the world doesn't end.
I want to end the episode actually with a little quick discussion of plans for the next year of for Bros in the Landfill.
Oh,
so,
of course.
Yeah, so something that we've sort of talked about but not had a full discussion on is maybe doing these podcasts every other week and supplanting or giving us some more time to maybe record some gameplay footage or other stuff so that we're a bit fresher on topics. I definitely feel like we're doing a bit better this week because we actually had a week off last week.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't
but-
feel
Because Dizzy wasn't
mentally
on.
exhausted.
Well, no, even when you came on, it was a good conversation, good talk. Like, also Lunch is on this week, so it's immediately 100% better.
Woo!
But I was thinking that it could work in our favor that if we use the recording time that we would have used for podcasts every other week, as
bitty bobs.
recording time for gameplay footage. That means I can actually do Let's Plays with you guys because that means I have time to record. That also means that you guys can also record gameplay footage whenever the fuck you want because really, like, as long as you have two people in a game to play, then we have an ability to have footage for videos. maybe like have like 10, 20-minute videos, at least 3 uploads a week. That could work. Because let's say if we record for like an hour or 2 hours on a Saturday, that gives us like 3 to 6 possible videos.
That's true.
What if? Never mind.
Well, I quite like some of the Let's Play stuff we've got on our channel.
Yeah.
So it would be cool to have.
And then
We still have some
maybe
Let's Plays we haven't posted yet, and some Let's
Yeah.
Plays that we can no longer finish for really, really frustrating and stupid reasons.
Well, we don't necessarily even have to like finish the games we're Let's playing. I mean, the Game Grumps don't finish half the games they play.
Yeah, but we play less games, and also Let's Plays are fun. Well, are they?
Well,
I guess.
I'm just saying it might be more fun to have a variety of games and see what hits and what doesn't hit. We don't always have.
We
even if
still
it's a
need
longer.
to finish all the endings for Eve. LP fan asked us, and we said, "Okay, we'll do
We
it."
failed
and then we
him.
never did it.
We
Well,
failed our fans.
See, but that's the thing. Like, if we have people wanting us to play more games, like or play more of a game, we can play more of a game. There's no issue doing that. It's just a matter of trying to see what hits, what doesn't hit, what we want to play, what we don't want to play. Like, I want to get Lunch to play Shin Megami Tensei 1 on the on a ROM, like on an emulator or whatever, but I can't realistically have us record a 40 to 60 hour game for a Let's Play.
You could actually, but do you want to? Is the thing.
No, but when I say realistically, I'm saying
yeah.
when I say realistically, I'm saying that's going to take up our channel for like half a year.
Yeah, we'd just become a Shin Megami Tensei Let's Play channel.
You know, that might be good, because I was told that YouTube analytics tend to prefer channels that have a focus rather than doing whatever they want, which is a little bit
But it's
sad
also-
because it means that once you struck oil, you kind of have to keep digging.
Yeah, but
It's
to
hard.
that extent, you have it's a matter of striking that oil,
Yeah.
and I'd rather have a variety of content where if we do have a if we do strike oil somewhere, we can still make those videos, but we can still do other videos too. We don't have to be like doing the same gameplay of the same game every week. We can supplant it in with other stuff, go back and forth as we're available.
You don't want Bros in the Landfill to be the YouTube channel where Try and Lunchbillion play Shin Megami Tensei and also some other stuff happens.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys
no more
watch Bros in the
podcast.
Landfill?
It's no more
Yes,
podcasts.
that's-
It's no more podcasts. Every day is a 2-hour long play of Shin Megami Tensei.
You know that people,
One.
someone might like that. If no one
The
else,
problem
if
with-
no
the
one
problem
else,
with
it'd
the
probably be me though.
The problem with long videos, and this is part of the problem with our current podcasts, is that it's really hard to introduce someone to a channel when they have 2-hour long videos. People are much willing to try something out if it's 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes.
What if you guys
True.
just played what if you guys just played like a shit ton of Shin Megami Tensei and sent me the footage and I cut it up into 30-minute segments, and
That'd be-
we
that would
release
hon-
those.
no,
We
no,
release those over the course of a day, and then after 2 months, the game is over.
Yeah. No, but that's honestly sort of what I was thinking. Like right now I'd like to try to just do 3 videos a week, maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Well, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and every other week the Friday is a podcast, just until we get into a groove or if we see that's even working out. Because I know since Dizzy is basically our editor, and he has other things in his life to do other than just edit videos.
No, actually, the reason why I'm on so many episodes and why I'm the editor is because I have nothing going on in my life.
No, but I should rephrase that. Okay, so
Will video
when you-
edit poorly for food?
yeah. But even so, just having Dizzy expected to do 5 days of videos, including one of those days being a podcast, is a bit much of an ask immediately. It's something to work up to. And it's something that if we stock up footage, then Dizzy can have a backlog of videos to upload.
Yeah.
But that's something to figure out in the future. We can see what Tar thinks. But if next Saturday or Sunday, and even so, another great thing we can do is if some people are just available on Saturday and some people are just available on Sunday, the Saturday people can record themselves playing something. The Sunday people can record themselves playing something, and we have 2 sets of footage to use. Whereas if we're doing a weekly podcast where it's only 1 episode a week, that's the only time where we're having usable footage or usable audio.
I do like this idea of making the podcast slightly more making it fortnightly. So we all have a bit more chance to recharge, considering that it's the same four of us pretty much every time, and it means that we can have more content on the channel that is like a bit more like accessible, and if people like that, then they might be more likely to check out.
And we can, and I'd also like to maybe like try to do some like more bros talk sort of things, like me like talking in the car with Dizzy when I go home, or people just talking like just random things that maybe wouldn't make a good full podcast episode that's kind of just on the fly.
Yeah.
Like, granted, the game...
when voice actors get canceled.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Good
we
times.
still need to finish the Vic discussion. When are we doing
episode
of the Vic discussion?
I am not talking about the Vic stuff again until after appeals, because...
That's what you said, and it's like, when is that going to happen, actually?
Well, it's currently in the appeals process right now.
Oh, cool.
As in, it's been filed for appeals. The appeal, like, the arguments for appeals haven't even been formed. It's just... It's going to the appeals court. The appeals court has I don't know if the appeals court has officially accepted, but they've denied a motion to dismiss the appeal. That's basically all that's happened.
I was going to ask, actually, because I don't do anything on Twitter, and my YouTube, like my basis of how much people talk about stuff is what shows up on my YouTube recommended section, which is not exactly a great way of telling things apart.
Of course.
So I'm never completely certain if what I'm saying is true about what quote unquote people are saying, but I was saying to someone else the other day, though, it's why I asked Try for an update. Someone was talking about the Kick Vic stuff, and I was like, yeah, what's going on? I was like, yeah, what's going on with that? I haven't heard anyone talk about that in a long time. But I don't know if
probably
I don't know if
happening is that legal stuff takes a long time, and people have short attention spans.
Well, legal stuff takes a long time, but the Vic stuff is moving faster than most legal stuff.
Okay.
It's still taking a long time, and people do have short attentions, but I don't know if their attention is that short, or if I'm the one who's not paying attention.
It's been almost a year since the initial drama.
Dude.
But this is the sort of thing that happens. Like, the news cycle gets bored with something. You're probably not going to hear something until the appeals court rules, because the only people following are those actually invested in the legal aspects in the case. Like, I'm following it because I'm actually interested in the legal stuff of the case.
Right. And
I'm following it because I need the views.
I'm actually interested in law. It's in a topic that I'm interested in. This whole like anti-slap stuff is actually far more like fascinating. Anti-slap as a topic is a really interesting conversation, because on one hand you're protecting people, like it's about preventing people from getting sued for their free speech. On the other hand, it's making sure people don't abuse an anti-slap motion to shut down frivolous shut down meritorious lawsuits. And something like the Texas Citizens Participation Act, the Texas version of it, is that it's a poorly drafted anti-slap law as opposed to some other states' anti-slap laws. So a lot of judges don't know how to rule on it, and it basically always goes to appeals because there's no reason not to appeal it. So at that point, like the judge in this case clearly knew it was going to end up going to appeals, and just kind of wanted it off his docket. So he ruled in the way that was most convenient for him at the time, and it's because he stated that he thinks that he's implied that there's a strong case on Vic's side for the appeal, even though he dismissed all of Vic's claims. And there's a lot you can read into it, but essentially the actual TCPA hearing didn't matter except for setting up the arguments for appeal, because it was going to be appealed either way. Like, okay, so if you're the defendant of a TCPA, case, and your TCPA doesn't pass, you basically have to appeal, otherwise the thing continues going on. If you appeal, you have a chance of not paying any court costs or attorney's fees. Like, there is no reason not to appeal if you're the defendant. If you're the plaintiff and you fail a TCPA, you have to appeal, otherwise you're on the hook for the other team's court costs. Like, like the actual, it might as well just go straight to the appeals because the hearing doesn't matter because both sides are going to appeal regardless.
If there's no reason not to, then I mean, it
And if you're
goes without saying.
And if you're a judge and you know it's going to be appealed, why do you care?
All right, so coming to Bros in the Landfill 2020.
My 2020 resolutions are I want to be on less videos because I suck, and I hope that we don't all die because for as angsty and edgy as I am, I actually rather like living.
That's good to hear.
Is it though? It's like in that in that one episode where we did the love questionnaire where it's like I'm just miserable the whole time, and then there's that one question. It's like, what would you do to change your past and all this stuff? And I was like, nothing. And then you're like, oh, that's cute.
I'm glad. Look, you don't have to be without darkness to be loved, man. You don't gotta.
I mean, like,
if you still want to live on this earth and you like living, even though there's shitty things in it, that's cool.
I feel like much like with many other situations, and social stigmas and stuff of the nature, it's like people think I'm really gloomy and edgy and hateful and stuff, which is completely understandable. I can't shame anybody for thinking that about me. I'm the guy who screamed about the exact same thing for a year and just gives Try just so much shit. Believe me, I get it. It is completely understandable that you think I'm just a heartless monster. I have not put any other face forward. But it's like, I feel like everyone kind of is like they say stuff or they act ways, but it's not all of them. It's like, believe it or not, there's more to me than not liking a stupid game.
The internet doesn't know how to process 3-dimensional human beings, Dizzy. Don't be stupid.
Yeah. It's hard for anybody in general because when you're fed information, it's, conflicting information is hard. If you bump into some guy in the street and he's like, hey, fuck you, then you can think, well, that guy's an asshole, but maybe the guy was just having a bad day and you'll never see him again, so you'll never know. But all I gotta say is, I really like Devil May Cry 3. Everyone should go out and play it right now. I like things, see? It's a good game!
And this has been 2019. Thanks for watching.
Wait, come back! I can like games too, damn it! I can like games too!